Welcome, dear ladies, to another interview of Be with a female entrepreneur. And this time it's Julie Perkins from Wyseminds. Welcome, Julie.
Thanks, Anna. Thank you. And thanks for having me.
Yes, it's lovely to have you. What we just discussed a little, we had a little discussion before starting to record this interview. And you asked me why I do these interviews. In the first place. And well, one of the reasons is because I love to have conversations with women and to hear how they have grown their businesses, how they came to the idea to do it, and well, really to have a conversation about it. It's a lovely way to inspire and also to share information. So basically that's why I like to do interviews, and I love to talk to women who are very active and ambitious. And I believe you are a very active and ambitious lady.
I'd like to think so, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, so please tell us more about Wyseminds, how you came to the idea to start Wyseminds.
Well, actually, I'm one of those sort of over 50 entrepreneurs just beginning, and I spent my life in corporate life. And I opened up Specsavers in the Netherlands, and I did that for 30 years. And then due to ill health, I had left that. Well, I've got a different role, but in terms of being operational, I've left that. And sort of in my recovery into good, healthy living again, I thought to myself, what's the gap? Where do I think that I can feel fulfilled in doing something that really reflects the origin of what I believe? And supporting female entrepreneurs to growing their business was definitely the answer to that one. But it was a way of how to do it and who to do it. Where was that gap? Where were the unsupported sitting? And it's very much that entrepreneur, before they get to accelerator, incubator, and not every single entrepreneur wants to scale their product. They just want to put their great idea out to make a difference. And there's this big gap where women seem to be really good at starting up. And then in terms of continuing, unless they do the accelerator big investment, we tend to lose these great ideas. And through my experience of 30 years of working in one of the most challenging competitive environments that Specsavers is in, I thought, what can my learnings be from my journey that can support this group of female entrepreneurs to grow their businesses? And the difference is, my sort of persona, the avatar really is those women who want to grow their businesses on their own terms. So what growth is to them, what success is to them. So it's more of a supportive role, founder first support, and then taking it forward. And it doesn't mean they don't want to scale either. I've got a couple of entrepreneurs who have just taken small micro investments to make the difference they want to do in more geographical areas. But it's just about working with the founder to really truly know what they want. We start it to feel fulfilled, Anna, as we know, we start it to make a difference. And somewhere along the way, we can lose that. And I know that you work with guys as well on that. And this journey to being able to give them that vision, or at least give them the space so they can create that vision, and then to support them with the tools that help me grow Specsavers to a market leadership position in the middle of a recession. So there was a lot of advantages. So it was balancing the two. It was bringing corporate experience and bringing it into and keeping it entrepreneurial. This is like super special about entrepreneurs. We love to do, we love to make a difference. And, you know, there's a lot of energy there. So whatever we do is it supports and keeps the founder as who they are and just takes them, I suppose, a little quicker to where they want to be. So that's the sort of business. And I started it 18 months ago, and I've loved it. wrong. It's had its bumps. But I truly know that this is what my 30 years of growing a tough business has led to, and it's the right place for me. It's definitely hitting the nail on the head, as they say.
Yes, and we love you for starting this for us, because it makes a difference. I did one of your workshops and it was really nice.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's always good to reflect on your own business from a different point of view. And I like what you say, the founder first support. So that it's about what the founder has to offer to us, and not so much focused on the business as if it were a machine or anything, but it comes from the founder inside out. And what you also mention very often is that it's about the purpose, the feeling of purpose, the meaningfulness.
Definitely. I mean, this is where sometimes we kind of get sort of taken in by the external environment that we live in, which is models, incubators, etc. It's brilliant, because there are certain ways that do grow businesses faster. Mm-hmm. But what we tend to take, we're not ignoring that factor. I mean, I built Specsavers, you can't really ignore it. But it's kind of understanding that there isn't one way of growing a business. And that is very, very important in terms of understanding what the motivation is of the founder. Because really true motivation, they call it motivation 3.0, you know, that comes from what we're motivated to do, what comes naturally to us. And what comes naturally to us is to take what we believe and turn it into something that makes a difference. It's connected to us. So to a certain extent, by putting a model on it too quickly without it forming the essence of who you are, it doesn't mean build the business around the founder, but the essence of who you are sometimes loses the power to grow. So act too soon, you make it too, here is a model, too soon. Mm-hmm. And that beautiful power, especially from female founders who are truly passionate about making something better, you kind of lose it too soon. And maybe that's why there is, when we look at startups, and evidence says that male and female founding companies, the startup is good, it's very equal. Where it starts to lose it is when it grows forward from there. So the question that I ask myself is, how can I do the support structure that moves somebody successfully from a startup into a more resilient model without losing them? So once people lose them, you just lose yourself a bit.
Yes, and it's a pity, because what you say, so many of these female founded businesses are also because they feel that they have to create something. It's not because they don't know what to do and, well, let's start a business. There is a good reason why they do it, and also they have this courage to take that step and to try something out, but then to keep the motivation. That is a very big, also because what you just told, there are bumps on the road, so then how to overcome those bumps, and what the reasons can be for those bumps. It's not just external, it's not just COVID or whatever it is. It can also be self-doubt or fear, or all these emotions that can stop us. And that's really a pity, because it doesn't mean that you have to stop. It can just mean that you should do something differently.
Well, I mean, that's what we work with the founders, is to leave them self-managing. Well, we use the Powerball as the concept, which is the alignment of 4 key drivers, which is business, customer, purpose, that way that we work, and of course the customer. And it's the alignment of those 4 drivers that kind of creates the rudder for taking your idea. So we try and use it to ensure that the people that we work with aren't attached to us. We make them self-managing for understanding, what are the blocks? Why am I frustrated? Why do I suddenly not love my business that I've brought up and adored for the moment? What's blocking me? What's it? And people think it's something external. You know, the problem with COVID, the problem with this, of course, these external factors didn't help. But those companies that survived well during COVID, those small businesses and medium-sized businesses had a strong embedded purpose, like a rudder that they could pivot around. Mm-hmm. They were agile, they were resilient in terms of what they stood for, but they were agile enough to flick and to move around. So during COVID, I worked with a lot of founders to work out how they could pivot, but it really started with strengthening the core of who they are, because we all think we've got purpose, but having purpose is very different from living purpose, and very different from the ultimate, which is leading with purpose, where how you make decisions is guided by your purpose. And I know you like the question of what should never leave a sort of female founding company. And that's the spirit, but their broader way of seeing what success is defined as. Mm-hmm. And purpose-led growth is a massive way of doing that, because we believe that, okay, it might make us slower in order to achieve growth, but we're building it step by step in a more resilient manner, which means it can survive the storm and it's really grounded. So, you know, it's easier to pivot because you know who you are. Mm. You're not throwing lots of shiny things at it. You're actually going, I know who we are. I know so much. I'm so connected to my customer. I know what's relevant in these times. I know what they're feeling. I know their pain. And female entrepreneurs are very good at that.
Ah, yeah. And also the pivoting is easier when you know what your core values are and the core values of your customers.
Yeah. It's put better than I did, Anna. Yeah. Well, we say to the female entrepreneurs when they come on, we say, once you know where you are, once you know how to view a business and its performance and success, and what growth means to you, because what is success unless you know what growth is to you? It's different for everybody. But once we can build that and actually understand that picture, what we try and support females, which is very, very important, as much as the self-assessment, is to understand, where is the problem? Mm-hmm. Where does it sit? Where is it misaligned? And do I need to fix it or pivot it? Or some cases, it's time to sell. You know, in terms of it, sometimes it is time to say, that's enough of that path. When you are that misaligned from it, or you started something you weren't majorly aligned to, it starts off and it's fun, but when the going gets tough, you've got to live and breathe and feel what you're trying to change. So if it's not connected to you and it's not a real huge joy and passion in life, it won't give you that fulfillment. No. So we have to understand where the frustration comes and where have you fallen out with your business? Where have you fallen out? What's misaligned? That's the starting point anyway, and then it can go from there. It's a great conversation, you know.
Yes.
The big challenge is it's loneliness from being an entrepreneur. You need somebody to have good banter conversations with, good sort of challenging, questioning, curiosity. And I think that's probably my favorite part of it.
Yes, the questioning, but also just throwing up a challenging thought. Yes, tickle a bit. To
Naturally.
see how people react.
I've been to your course as well, Anna. I know what it's like.
Yes, I like that. Just a little. But something else came up now, and that's the question whether your company is sellable. That's something that we don't really think about. We think about this growing and expressing our yes, what we want to bring to the world, to add a service, being of service, to help people, but also this question of what you're building, is it sellable? If you look at it from that point of view, then you look at different things, because then it's not so much about you anymore, but it's about the house that you're building and whether that is
well,
to
without doubt,
someone else.
Without doubt. And you know, one of the part of the program is to constantly support the entrepreneur to make themselves continually redundant. And, you know, the way businesses grow is exactly the same. Your business is individual, but the way companies grow is not. So actually getting them to understand that growth is a series of waves, and those can be big waves or small waves, lots of waves in between, but it's very important to constantly make yourself redundant, look upon, put yourself back in a different position, ask yourself, and you can do that in big scale, because I'm just about to grow with Wyseminds, and Wyseminds has suddenly turned from sort of passion into it's got an investment in it. It will have to take digital online.
That's great. Great.
I've done 3 months of preparation for me, not because it's about me, but because it's going to not be about me. And is that what I want? Is that, you know, I am the creator of all for Wyseminds at the moment. Am I mentally prepared? Am I prepared? Do I have the people that surround me? Have I got the right approach and leadership spirit to make it not about me, but to leave the essence of me? I'm not going, of course. I've just made myself redundant to position somewhere else. So I'm on a new journey. Well, I'm never going to get bored with repositioning myself at the time, but there were some big questions to ask.
Absolutely.
Am I prepared for it not to be about me?
Yes.
It's a hard one.
Question. Yes, absolutely.
And then that's the first step to making whatever you have sellable. And I always say, even if you don't want to sell it, you make it sellable by understanding the value of your goodwill. Or not everybody has assets, both me and you in the service industry, etc. We've got websites, I'm sure. But when you don't have like physical assets, and especially companies, big companies in today's world, most of their goodwill is not in terms of the physical stuff. You know, industry and businesses have evolved, and it's more about now, you know, the website, customer, it's more liquid, it's more fluid. So you have to understand the value of your goodwill whilst you're living your business. And there is a value that you can put on purpose and doing the right things, the value of your stakeholders, how aligned, how well that company will progress without you. What does it turn over? How much does it depend on one thing? And how much do you invest in each of those things? It's a really interesting journey. And I think working with entrepreneurs and taking them on that, it's full of light bulb moments, that things we especially about holding on too long. That was a big lesson learned for me in my life. When I ran Specsavers in the Netherlands, you know, I didn't make myself redundant quick enough. And it was during a recession, so it was super hard. So you don't want to stop touching and holding people because of fear of performance, or are we going to survive, or what's this going to do? So you hold on tighter and tighter. Whereas actually wiseness and surrounding myself by amazing people in my life taught me that actually letting go and giving people the space gave less fear. And I've never forgotten that, ever forgotten that. If I'm too in it, take a step back, make yourself redundant. Obviously, I don't make the announcement, I do it to myself. And then place yourself back in a position that gives other people space.
It's also a way to show trust.
Without a doubt. Yeah. And if you surround yourself by the right people, you're absolutely right. Yes. I think that is such a beautiful part of going from startup into a more resilient model. And a hardest lesson to learn is to let go of what you've held the tightest. But it's essential. If there was an article in Harvard, I think back in December, it was like the challenge of a founder, the founder dilemma is, you know, getting to the stage where, you know, you're holding so tight, it's grown around you and you're actually behind it. And that's this danger zone from startup to resilient model, is actually the influence of the founder. And yeah, it's a beautiful part of the journey when entrepreneurs learn to let go with trust.
Yes, because maybe you're even blocking the growth.
Without a doubt.
With your presence.
Yeah.
That's a good.
And I think, as I said, I'm very open about it. When I ran Spec Sales 2007 and 8 in that recession, 2009 was also the year we became market leader because I let go. And of course, it's not just I was there, but the space, that fear, and it can be entrapment because when people come to your business, they also have a value. They want to be fulfilled. And it needs to be also a bit on their terms. So having this letting go and translating passion into a purpose and organization, it's a great way to create a unity within everybody. And that's very much what I sort of believe in the whole concept and shone through with COVID. Companies who lived an embedded purpose, not added it on as we'll be nice to people and, in terms of it, really embedded it and actually lived by it, were the companies that had a greater performance during and definitely after, for sure.
Yes, I'm also believing that.
I know. I'm very familiar. We've met on very aligned circumstances. I think we'd met. We trialed each other's sort of workshops, and we both were aligned to both of us with the slightly different percent, but there was still so much similarities with the way that we think and see, and I think that's probably why we enjoyed both each other's products.
Yes, exactly. It was nice to.
And why I'm coming down to The Hague in Den Haag to see you in action as well.
Oh,
next week.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Thank you so much for taking the effort to come to The Hague.
That would be great. Really good. Looking forward to it myself.
Because it's also in person. I love the online environment because that was the way to stay in touch and also to meet each other. In our case, that's exactly how we met in an online, I think it was a networking event.
That's right. Yeah, it was actually. It did. Always worth taking LinkedIn and dropping people a quick hello afterwards.
Yes, absolutely.
Because good things can come from it, for sure.
Sure. But then now that we have this possibility to do also things in person, that makes these in-person events even more special.
Yeah.
I value them more. And also just take the effort to make it, because we also experience more traffic time and everything. It is a new challenge now.
Yeah.
Go somewhere, but it's so worthwhile the effort.
Oh, I must admit it is worthwhile for sure. Yeah. I would agree.
And talking about in-person events, are you planning things for Wyseminds also in person, or is it mainly an online environment where you offer?
Well, yeah, it's finding that. It's a really good question, and we never say never. And I do in-person events for the entrepreneurs that are currently on the program. Mm-hmm. So, for example, when we have to do detailed work, which I think would be better in a group, or where I'm inviting another Wyseminds into it with a skill I don't have, like financial planning and planning in terms of investment shareholders agreements, that sort of aspect, face-to-face is very, very important. And trying to get together in groups, I think there's definitely a huge strength in that. But the gap I wanted to do was the accessibility, and the accessibility, which is why I've taken on this huge project to take this level online. So at the moment, it's 80% human and 20% tools. Now, a lot of people say, oh, that's amazing. But actually, the intensity of relying a lot on human factors when you're learning, etc., there's a lot for entrepreneurs to be able to do it when they've got those moments rather than those designated times. Their lives are pretty much designed to the minute anyway. And this was a way of trying to create something that was more accessible. So our objective is not to lose the human side. The experience of myself, other Wyseminds such as Henk, Richard, are invaluable, but it's to turn it on its head so it's 80-20. So I think there's always going to be a space for events, but we try and keep a lot of it online so that we can, I suppose, dance with the timing of entrepreneurship, which has no pattern. Yeah, we have the little workshops, and we try and regularly run those, but at different times. So sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes in the morning, every 2 weeks. Online, definitely when it's a new skill, when we're guiding the entrepreneur to redesign their business canvas, etc., we tend to do it online because it then can be in their own time. And, you know, that's very important. I think you start like 10 o'clock and, you know, they've got obligation and stuff like that. When you feel creative, feel it's the moment, and that you create that space, I want the entrepreneur to be able to have what they need to progress in that time and then guide that. But you know me, I'm that to create another new thing. So piggyback.
I'm losing you, Julie. Is that possible? Or is it my connection? I don't know what. I hope. Yes, you froze in my. So we're back. So something happened at the, we don't know, maybe it was rush hour connection. Anyway, we're back again. Yes, Julie, I'm sorry. We kind of lost what you were saying. Could you go back a bit?
I couldn't, definitely. We were talking about online and face-to-face and whether we were going to have events. And I was sort of thinking, talking a little bit about how we're trying to develop a program on your own terms and in your own time, supported by us, which is why we're going online.
Yes.
We never say never, but there are some foundations and groups that do face-to-face very well. And so for me to piggyback into those, I think, and I do recommend entrepreneurs to certain groups that I'm a member of, and I try and encourage them to get together as much as possible in those events. But to sort of create another thing, I'm not sure. I've never say never, but I think there are some groups that do it very, very well. I enjoy it anyway. So I just thought of all the things, you know, my mother taught me, and she managed to be quite successful. Stick to the knitting, stick to what you're good at, and then use behind what is your ecosystem and fill it with people that are better than you at it. So I would put that in that category. There are a lot of people better at event management than me. I like going to them.
It's also true. It's nice to go to them and be part of it and not be responsible.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think we have to wrap up now because yes, we try to keep it sweet and short.
Absolutely.
It's true what you say. Time is always a thing for us. So, what future plans do you have, or what do you have for us coming?
Well, obviously, the big project at the moment is the digitalization of the training, which makes it more accessible. You know, I've got a 3-year vision to fill the gap of those businesses that feel a bit in no man's land, where they're too far forward to go back, and where they're trying to seek to knock on that door forward to growth, whatever that is, and just to guide them. And if every single female entrepreneur, or any entrepreneur really, could understand it's easier than they think. They've already got the answers. If they just shoveled a little things in a different direction, in fact, it gives them the greatest shift forward. And that normally comes down to clarity of purpose and how they embed it through what they do, what they see, what they think, and how they work. So for the future, I'm going to keep keep going and help more and more people to either fix it, switch it, and if they still love their business, hopefully avoid selling it.
Oh, yes. Yes, I like this idea of also selling your business. Yeah. Who knows, maybe founding a new one.
Yeah. Exactly. Some people are just supposed to start it off, and we hold on and we make do, and we think we're happy, and we think we're not frustrated, and every day we wake up and put plasters on it. Whereas actually, if we just have the space to go, oh, actually this doesn't work for me, but I've got another great idea. This has happened recently to one of the entrepreneurs I support. That can give the freedom back to the reason why you once started and wanted to be an entrepreneur in the first place.
Yes, good idea. Thank you so much, Julie.
My pleasure, Anna, and I shall see you next week, and I very much look forward to it.
Yes, me too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.